Terima kasih banyak. I'm so grateful to Mas Ari to involve me especially because I am consider myself in Nusantara very much a student and learning. So it's a big honor to learn while being involved. So the topic that I wrote here is on the first slide is Wayfaring Hearts Than Expressi Authentic. So I tried some of the text to translate a little, but feel free to ask. I use the term Wayfaring Hearts. Actually, it's Hawaiian origins. Kampung saya also for my first master's anthropology, the University of Hawaii, where I meet Mas Ari also. And wayfaring actually refer to the Hawaiian indigenous traditional way of finding their way in the ocean, through the stars, through local wisdom. And I use it for the heart, the same kind of like wayfaring to the divine heart, to whatever name we want to call divine. And finding, and arts is actually in what I'm going to share with you guys today. Maybe the second, you can shift to the second slide. First with my thank yous, and especially to share this forum with who I consider my mentor. So many people, everybody in maybe Indonesia I consider my mentor. So I also, Pak Tanto, I feel he's a heart guide, and I'm such an honor to share this space with him. So after Aceh, I want to thank Pak Tanto also, and for being that mover and shaker from the ground. So the reason I'm using Wayfaring to the Heart is that unlike many scholars and so many foreign scholars, ASEAN scholars in Indonesia who come via academia to Indonesia, my route to Indonesia or Nusantara is by love, because my husband is Indonesian, and that's how I met him in Hawaii, and Indonesia came into my life through music and dance in Hawaii. And so it's not via academic research, so that's why I hope, minta maaf, you will bear with my Bahasa Indonesia in process and read some of the slides as I talk in English. So I think for today, because I don't want to take too much time, and we have Mas Tanto, and I have so much to learn from all of you in Aceh, I will focus out of the questions that Mas Ari asked me, I will share with you about how my art, which is my dance practice, became my practice as research. And continues to be. So I will share a little of my story, as we say in Hawaii, talk story with you a little about, that's one part I'm going to do. And then I will also, because of the other questions that I see are raised by Mas Ari and others about the problems with art, I will tell you a little about my context, because I'm from Pakistan, and like I said, I came to Indonesia after marriage, and my dance is my art has way huge problems in the context where it is and continues to. So maybe a little about those problems will maybe give you some insights also about your case in Indonesia, and how my art has become my way to connect with authentic self, and that's how I teach my students also, and build communities around the world. So I will also share, because I want to hear, of course you will hear from Mas Tanto and know already all the work that people are doing here to build community. I will share about one of my teachers from UCLA, who is doing a big inspiration for me, how he's connecting the whole world and communities through his art. And great impact, something that is a goal for me. Okay, maybe next slide. So is this the third slide? So because I cannot see what you guys are seeing, so just checking third slide. So that's just me at my graduation, and I'll tell you about how my practice as research, because I study anthropology, and then I found out about in the US at UCLA, University of California, how there is a program that very unique in the US also combine anthropology with performing arts and cultural studies. So you can kind of do your practice and think about it and question it. So that was something I learned while my Estigaya at my PhD. And we can go to the next slide. And this is something, it's a method I learned and I continue. And when I finished my Estiga, if you go to the next slide, and when I went back, because I was a Fulbrighter and I'm giving back time to Pakistan, I promised to give back 3 years. So in those 3 years, this developed. I never realized that what I was doing, did my Estiga, looking at my teacher's work and her dance, and I was able to access histories I was not allowed in my context growing up in Pakistan. It's only when I went to Hawaii, met Indian friends, and just to give you a little context for Pakistanis and Indians, because of the big politics and enmities officially between the countries, our generation grew up with very only knowing parts of our culture, not knowing our roots. So actually through my dance practice and doing it, a dance practice is actually Bharata Natyam, and my guru happens to be the maestro, who she's alive, living legend in Pakistan. She's Indu Mitta. She learned and this dance way before the countries were separated. So that's the generation that's no more now. There's only a few of them left. And only through my dance I'm able to access that otherwise unknown space of shared space between this region, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So actually I realized that through my dance I'm doing this work. So I developed these workshops. It started then. And now this piece through artwork, I do through my research, through workshops, and also through choreographies and teaching innovative. So it's just an example of how that practice as research has gone for me. Next slide. And I having Patanto here too, I just put up some of the this poster on the left, of course, is recent, 2 years ago. Yeah, this is already 2 years. Got a chance to collaborate with Javanese expert Nani, who asked me to come to the Gunung Lima Festival, and I'm such joy to discover, and I hope I will get to discover more. And on the right here, if there's time at the end, I can show you a little clip of this. This is a dream project that happened for me to bring some of the lessons I was learning through the dance drama from Java to Indus, and kind of what I was learning and I'm wanting to convey through a dance troupe in 2019 on from Nusantara, wisdom for my land. And I want to tell you a little more why that's an issue, for you to get an idea about the context of Pakistan and dance in Pakistan. So are you at the 6th slide now? I think practice as research. So kind of my PhD, I won't be showing you guys this. It's available online. You can go on my website too, and you can see these links of this dance. So here's what just in short, if I want to tell you about the context of my dance in Pakistan. So when I grew up already in the 70s, and I'm pretty old, dance was officially banned. And it's interesting that Mas, when he was introduced me, thought I was from Arab, and actually that's completely, there is no cultural sort of background and history of Pakistan with Arab, except the Islamic, of course. But our culture is closer to Central Asia, and we share with India. And this in the 70s, this dance originally comes from South India. My teacher learned it in Pakistan, Lahore, but all classical dance became banned in the time of a martial law leader who was connecting with Arab and said, this is not our culture. So just importing the Islamization, the Arabanization of Pakistan. So that's the 70s, which is actually disconnected with the land and the culture. So we were not allowed. A whole generation of Pakistani teachers were gone because dance not allowed to do. And so for me, the dance went underground. They continued, dancers continued, teachers continued on embassies and foreign soil. And that's how when I came to Hawaii, I then realized, actually, meeting my Indian friends, that the dance that I was doing, my teacher had translated it, taken out the Hindu sounding things so that it would continue, in not lose its roots. So I will just give you a little, I translated this here. Are you on the 7th slide about creating alternative culture formations? So this is me doing one of the choreographies from my teacher, the last one she made for me before she retired. And I'll just read what Ananya Chatterjee, a scholar I follow, says about the power of the arts now and in this practice. So I read in English here, you can read in Bahasa over here. The body becomes the site of weaving together research, memory, and imagination to invoke and create new collective memories and stories. This practice of storying, where the tensions and resonances between multiple stories reveal an emotional map of the physical choreography and trace connections, put us in conversation with various communities and in alignment with our commitment to decolonized knowledge production. So that's something kind of what I do in my my PhD, also with my dance. It's also available online, but the thesis, if anyone's interested, can look up with my name and choreographing in the land of the pure, which is Pakistan. Pakistan means land of the pure. So this kind of the power of practice as research, that you may grow up in this context, and it's the arts that allow you that a way to access knowledge that you will not have knowledge to. And the art, and I argue in my workshops and stuff that everybody is an artist, and it's when you connect to the artist within you. For some it may be painting, for some it's music, for Ari it's music, it's my dance, for theater, photography. But when you really connect with the artist within you, then you become this instrument of peace, and you access knowledge, and nobody can stop the truth from you. That's the power of the arts and the artists. Okay, so next slide. That's again Ananya Chatterjee on provoking hope and beyond potential. Here, this is just what she writes about our dance. Those of you who are interested in dance can read this, but she says that basically to imagine and to embody is to know. To imagine anew and to embody is to know. And to witness is to participate in a vision and to know again. I believe that audiences come to believe in the images that we dance because dancers fill it with the fullness of their presence. And that is why dancing creates a commons. It inaugurates a commons where performers and audiences can find shared space to map new worlds. And of course, where Patanto's Gunung Lima Festival is incredible, and I'd love to hear so much more from Patanto about that. How we map and potential realize a new, worlds that are not yet we create through our arts. Okay, next slide. Where I have still had the honor the last 3 years to offer different courses is this integrated arts program. And maybe I put the slide of Professor Pa Bambang also to address one of the questions that Ari asked me was like, what does it take? What are the minimum requisites? Ari asked me epistemic institutional conditions for postgraduate art. And really, in my experience from Pakistan and even here since I moved, it's one person. It can be one person with power and knowledge, or who is supportive. So in this case, Pa Bambang is really the founder of this whole intimate integrated arts program, and I had the honor to have Ari in one of my classes online too, and he has created this space where protection to the artists and the faculty to just think. And I was like, in the 3 years I was been teaching there, I'm always given space to create new things and go with the direction. So it really could be just one leader able to do that and create and hold that space for so many others. So that's the basic, minimum to answer that part of the question. So Pa Bambang is saying here that the arts for philosophers is a unique way to interpret and give meaning to the experience, which is different from science, religion, and philosophy, and something that only arts do. So I'll just give you an example of one of the courses that from this in the next slide. which completed 3 years. It's called a really unique course, Seni Social Seni Lingkukan. And you can read in the Bahasa here. Basically, students, it is also based on, I developed this course, also inspired from my professor, Peter Sellers. I will tell you briefly about also in the end. His questions to all us, and I carry them on to my students, is what kind of world do I desire? How do I make it happen? And then we take the art projects with their environments. Every student have their own projects, and then they reflect on their own life experiences. So it's a very personal journey. And then they look at the, kind of the, whatever their projects are. I'll skip to the next part of the slide. We're on the slide 11. You can see, and it's a project base. And we had Mas Eko share about his sort of development of his. I'm also in researching on his some of his karya, so I did invite him for a class. The next slide, you can see the students. So they had their. This is the slide 12, slide number 12. These are the students. They work on the Sungai, the most polluted river in Java. We have in Bandung around here. So they had their projects around that, and engaging with the community and spending time with them, and then having their artistic, expressions on that, and continuing their connection with the river and projects. So this is ongoing. So they reflect artistically, and one of the students' projects has been really great. It's now collaborated with the orchestra, and it's got a soundscapes, and it's really grown. So great things can happen when you sort of give students the time to work on their projects like that. Okay, so I think I should skip because time is short. So here I just want to leave you with my Professor UCLA, Professor Emeritus Peter Sellers. He's a mentor actually for Indonesians too. Eko Ciprianto is one of his mentees at Maham, and actually other students too. What's so incredible about Peter Sellers is these courses he's developed, and that which I have now in turn also trying to develop here, called Art as Moral Action, Art as Social Action. So the distinction between this is artist is an activist, and you cannot sort of separate them. And what he does is he collaborates with people around the world, and he really marginalized voices, and we also take literature from really like classical literature, but he makes it really alive, and he's world famous in his opera and theaters, and he's worked with Indonesia, around the world he works. So one of the questions that he leaves important questions in times of crisis are, he always brings us back to how we are able to change the narrative, and that's the power of the arts really. How we can create richer identities for ourselves only through the arts. And then of course everything that you are doing is supposed to be for the next, it's the 7 generations before you and the ones that are coming ahead of you, so you have to think out of the box to create that better world for them. Okay, next slide. And really powerful was I can share links with you guys on one of his projects in COVID times, how he collaborated with like artists through this medium, like we are. I'm here from Bandung, Papa is here from Jogja, and then you guys are in Aceh, and I'm in Aceh right now. So we collaborate as artists around the world like that too. These are the times, because it's the crisis times, and we need to work with collaboration and community to make a different kind of footprint on the earth. Okay, so slide 18. I have some titles translated here, but basically I think I already covered that, how the arts can be this container for future visions. So this is the AI world, and initially I had put AI in my title. Was AI is telling us only creating things from what is already knowledge in the database, but artists are the only ones, as we go ahead in this AI world, that we access knowledge from the future, because we are inspired and we have access to when we work together as artists. It's really powerful, and there's no replacement for that in the AI world. the role of the arts in these times. So I'll just last one. I will just end actually with some open questions and food for thought, maybe for discussions. And one of my mentors, Pasa Morgianto, shared with me these articles from Compass and recent this month and last month, and it's all about caring for our roots. And I'd like end here like how like Ari, my kampung in Hawaii, I had to go all the way, for me as a Pakistani, not allowed to access her Indic past. So for Pakistan, like was cut into like half of Punjab is cut in India and Pakistan, half of Bengal is here and there. People had to move like in 1947 when the British left, they had to leave their homes and like overnight. So they had to, everybody killed everybody. And so nobody wants to remember. So nobody wants to remember their roots. So in Pakistan, what happens is we totally disclaim, oh, this is not our past, this is Hindu, this is Indic, whereas that's like centuries of our history. So I had to learn that by leaving my country and going to Hawaii, learning my Indic roots. So it's really caring for our roots for the next generation. And then one of the other articles here is like, maybe there's a big trend in Indonesia looking at the West and like the young generation inspired by K-pop and here, whereas this article here is saying there's a lot of local wisdom in other Asian countries, perhaps like he's mentioning here India also, that there's lots to learn, not just from the West, so maybe just your own, of course, most importantly. And in Aceh, I'm very excited to just be here online with you guys, because I have been there twice, but I'd love to come for a longer research. Like I feel like there is so much local wisdom and there's so much already been done. It's just not perhaps as known to the world. And this is what this initiative by Syiah Kuala right now, by Ari, to make the ecosystem is just fantastic, just what's needed right now. So if I can just leave with the 18th slide, and I think I'm over time, right?
No worries.
Is it okay?
मोरवा पंख खोले जियरा मोरा डोले
Sakita dikita ditam teya teya tat teya 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 tat teya teya tat teya 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 tat takita dikita dittam
मोरवा पंख खोले मोरवा पंख खोले
teya teya tacham tacham teya teya tacham tacham teya teya tacham tacham teya teya tacham tacham
Okay, so I guess this is just concluding, remarks. So, firstly, I just want to say I really appreciate this effort by the organizers, Ari, by yourself, and the university for the arts ecosystem in Aceh. Yeah? And it's really something, especially coming from my context in Pakistan, I think you are way ahead. And in my preliminary discussions, also with artists in Aceh, as you know, my interest is in Islam and women in the performing arts, as myself. And my initial discussions, even maybe I'll just mention here, Minang Sari, thanks to Ari, I have been introduced to her, so we start some conversation about my questions. Yeah, so I was just thinking, because one of the questions that Ari, you shared with me, that you asked everybody here, the English you shared with me was about local excellence in a global context. Yeah, and I was just thinking in that context how just I have to spend a lot more time, but just in my beginning interactions with artists in Aceh, particularly female artists, I realized in my conversation with Minang Sari how, at least from a Pakistani female artist perspective, there's so much work already done in Aceh. I just, in my one conversation with her, by teachers, by maybe Minang Sari's teacher, this is the next generation. So actually, I was just amazed, and that there's so much done that needs to be, I would love to document no more. So I was just thinking there's all this excellence, and maybe part of this, one of your things was what could intermediate steps before your next steps that you are thinking about. So what came to my heart as right now was also maybe small working groups of people with similar interests can already start. Maybe we're already having conversations, maybe, but towards your end, have people interested with working groups continue conversations, maybe write it or something, and towards that ecosystem. So just everybody, every matter, what you're doing here is amazing already. This is so powerful because you are, you're giving energy, and there's so many of us here. From a Pakistan perspective, I see, wow, 12 people online, and then maybe another 10 here. But sometimes you only need a few to keep the light on, Just keep the light on, just make sure, just keep giving the energy and the light. And that's gonna go back. So anyway, and my apologies for my Bahasa, shortcoming in Bahasa right now. I will keep working on it. But please count me in on any future endeavors to build this ecosystem, and in any way that I continue to serve will be my honor.